Welcome back to another Pen Talk. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for joining me as I explore the amazing, incredible, unbelievable, international, wide world of pens. And you see rotating in front of you, held up by a rattler, and being observed by all of my fellow pen friends, you see what I consider to be my first new pen of 2023. Yes, I've bought a few pens. I don't consider a pen under $2, even though it was a great writer, to be a new pen. And I got some other models of pens, which weren't new models, but they were new versions of a model. But I digress. What you see rotating in front of you, which I hope is looking good in the light, is a Delta. It's one of the new models. It's a model I didn't know about until I went to the Fountain Pen Hospital Pen Expo a couple weeks ago. I fell in love with this pen. It comes in a couple different colors. Here's what they look like. And this pen has a lot of nice features to it. It's better than I expected. So let's take a look at this pen and let's see why I like it. And let's see maybe if it's something you like. The snake says. So Delta's always done well with packaging, and here's the package that this pen came in. Nice embossing there. We'll look on the side, we'll see a description, and we'll see some more information, and another logo. Fine writing instruments. Nothing on the back. This just opens up. The box slides out, and we'll see a nice clamshell box, faux crocodile leather, whatever you want to call it, spring-loaded top. Again, the logo with since 1982, so I guess they kind of just skipped over the years that they were not in business. An interesting booklet here. What I find interesting is it has a bunch of stuff in here, but nothing about a cartridge converter pen, which is what this is. It discusses cartridges, and then it goes right to piston fillers and roller balls. Interesting that they left that out. So here's the pen, held in securely. Nice little plastic catch there. And the pen comes out looking nice, feeling nice. Your first impressions is perfect weight and beautiful finish. So let's look at it a little bit more closely. So I was attracted to this pen because I think the design and the shape just is perfect. And the chatoyancy kind of lines up between the cap and the barrel, which is a long story. So this was the pen that they had on display, but it had an extra fine nib, which I didn't want. The only other choices I had were fine. So we found a pen with the fine nib, but I couldn't get the chatoyancy to line up, so we swapped nibs. And this pen has multiple engagements, so when you uncap it, there's 1, 2, 3. So there's 3 different engagement points, and you can see here's one where they don't line up, and you keep 1, 2, and now they should line up, and they do. It's almost less than a 1 turn to get the cap off. I like the conical end here, kind of a bullet nose here, so it's an interesting approach. I think they did well with just some bands here, and Delta's always good at engraving and labeling their pens, so you got Delta Italy there, and down below you'll see right balance, so that's the model, and you see a unique number, which will tell you what that is in case it doesn't show up on the screen, because I can't read it. So that's why I ended up with this pen. Here's some examples. I also found a different version of this pen sold by one seller. Here's what that looks like. And they make a Dulce Vita version where you have your orange resin here in the barrel and a gold nib. And here's that version. So this pen probably will see a long life. But you keep asking, why is it called right balance? Well, if you saw some of the other reviews on the first expensive pen, you'll see that this unscrews to reveal a weight that you can either leave in or take out. So if you take out the weight, it'll be more balanced towards the nib. If you put the weight in, it'll be more of a neutral balance. At least that's my feelings on it. But it's an interesting approach to having a pen that you can custom design with that one change to be what you like in a writing experience. And I'm certain you could do something different with the weights. Kind of reminds me of what you can do with a tennis racket. By adding weights at various spots on the racket, you can significantly change how it feels when you swing it. And I've always felt there was some relationship between tennis and fountain pens, because you're right, is another very hands-on experience, like when you hit the tennis ball with a racket, which I do on occasion, not as often as I would like. So I used, as usual, a kind of a new ink. I think I've had it in one or two other pens. But it's Tremel, and it's a Jadeite Peacock is the name of it. But this one is a green with some glitter in it. There it is on the paper towel. And the other Jadeite Peacock I have is more of a brown color, so I figured this one would go great with the coloring on this right balance. So this nib seems okay. It's on the smooth side. I did a little bit of smoothing on it because it seems to almost have baby's bottom, which is unusual with a fine nib. When I first started to write with it, you see it didn't write. It requires some decent pressure to write, so I think I might floss the nib next. But here's an example of what that nib writes like, and I think most people would be happy with it. So here's my receipt from the pen I bought at the Fountain Pen Hospital, and yes, they still write out paper receipts by hand. This was written by Ross. So the list price was $195, and the price in Fountain Pen Hospital was $146.25, which is a very good price, very competitive price, and in line with most of the other online sellers of this pen. And there's my B book holder, which I did a review on recently, and there's another Diamine Shimmer ink in Coca, which is brown, so we'll take a look at that a little bit later. And I'm in their system, so they go to a computer and they print out this label, which they stick here. And you notice there's a little punch here, so this is written on multiple carbon copies. So one goes to me, the top cover one. I get a number, and then it gets put into a little ring. And there were a lot of receipts for people that were buying pens at the Pen Expo. Really nice experience. Here I've done a slight disassembly, and we'll get into some other bits a little bit later on. But the first thing you'll notice when you take the pen apart is the converter is threaded right here above that metal collar, and that's a design that Delta did for a lot of their models. I find that a very nice touch in this new introduction of the Delta model. And we have a Yovo nib. You can tell from that feed. It's engraved with that nice Delta logo. It screws in and out. Easy to swap or replace if you would like. But of course, they wouldn't have the Delta logo on them. The other thing I find very nice is there's that rubber O-ring there that the barrel seats on when you put the barrel back on. That I don't remember in any of the Delta models that I had. And of course we have the cap. I think we need to bring in the LED and look at that resin under a different light. Yes, we're in dark mode. And here comes in the LED. I mean, I fell in love with this resin. It's something a little bit different. It's nice and sparkly. And if we look inside, we'll see how some of those stripes in the resin, which you really don't see that much when you look at it from above, and you can see that part where the pearlescence, mica, whatever it is in there to give the pen that nice little look. And of course, the barrel has the similar type of design and resin in it. And if we put the LED inside the barrel, we'll also see those same transparent lines. So again, impressed with what they've done with this pen. So I've played around with the weight at the end, and I think 2.2 grams is a significant amount of weight. But in my hand, when I remove the weight, I noticed how much lighter this pen felt in my hand. It's not a heavy pen. It's kind of in the medium range, but removing that weight just made it more of a lighter pen than I like. So I put the weight back in, and I find it to be very comfortable in my hand with that weight. Could probably use a gram or two more, but it's 2.2 is what we have. So some of you may find a little bit of a difference in your writing experience than I did, but that's how it felt in my hand. So I've had this pen, and I've been writing with it for the last couple days, and the nib is taking a while to break in. Sometimes good nibs just take a lot of writing, and I did do some smoothing on it, which generally is like an accelerated form of writing, so it will modify that point on the nib to hopefully be more in your liking. But I still really enjoy the pen, and I'm glad I had an opportunity to see one at the Fountain Pen Expo. Talked to Ross Cameron, who's the YAFA representative who was there. It was a good time. I always enjoy, talking to pen people. What can I say? So we're going to do a final writing of this, but let's give you some dimensions. And also, let's take a look at my other Delta pens. Yes, I have a full drawer of Delta pens. Starting over here on the left is the first one I got, followed by some Dolce Vitas. There's that all aluminum metal one, which I think is probably one of their least favorite pens that they made for me. It's a nice wooden one. It's a great Hong Kong pen. All of these I have separate reviews on, so you can look at those reviews. And at the far right is a Monte Moderna, which was the place where I bought most of these Deltas from. I very much enjoy all my Deltas. They're great writers, and that's what makes them great pens. And they also look great, made well, interesting resins, say no more. So after I did a little bit of work on the nib, and yes, I put two eyes in right, but my mind was not in tune with my hand when I was doing my writing. This pen is very comfortable in the hand, which is also, to me, another trait from Delta. They're good with ergonomics. The other thing is, you can tell from the design, is it probably posts well. And this is the first time I've posted the pen. That cap does add a little bit of back balance, but some people just need to post, want to post, and this pen is very postable. So therefore, it should meet their requirements. And it does look good in the hand. But I'm not a poster, so we're removing it. So overall, I'm extremely happy to have this pen and to say that this is the pen that broke my buy no new pens in 2023. And yes, it cost me a few dollars, but sometimes you just have to spend some money to enjoy something a little bit different. And I do have a bunch of pens coming in because I got excited about buying new pens after this one. So look forward to some interesting reviews coming up. Here's some teasers for those upcoming reviews. So overall, I'm happy Delta's back. I'm happy Delta has started selling in the lower end category, and certainly I wouldn't call this a lower end pen. And yes, if you need a gold nib, they are making these with gold nibs, but the price is 2.5 times more. And to me, I'm really satisfied with this fine nib once I did some writing with it, and hopefully I'll get a chance to experience some other nibs from Delta. We'll see how that turns out. So you've reached the end of this review. Thank all of you for watching. You notice how the pen starts up right away, and it's been uncapped for a while. So that I attribute to a lot of writing, some flossing, some smoothing, and I know it's a Yovo nib, but as no nib that comes in, it's perfect, so therefore a little bit of tender care can make a nib write really good. So I hope this video finds everyone safe, healthy, and happy, enjoying your pens, finding some pen you can fall in love with, and encouraging you to write, put your thoughts on paper, share your thoughts with others, do a drawing, an illustration. I don't know, there's so many things you can do with these pens, so do something. So we've reached the end of this video, and we will say bye. New videos coming.